One of the really big topics in the 49ers landscape right now is trade talk. Who are the San Francisco 49ers to go out and get to replace Nick Bosa? And again, you can't replace Nick Bosa. He's an irreplaceable player. But what you can do is you can try to supplement his loss a little bit easier than things have been going so far for the San Francisco 49ers. And so one of the things that has been discussed, I've seen a lot of stuff about the 49ers should trade for Max Crosby. The San Francisco 49ers should go out and trade for Trey Hendrickson. I've made a video about how I felt Trey Hendrickson was the most realistic high-end option for the San Francisco 49ers in regards to a trade for a defensive end. And, obviously while thinking about this and spinning on this, some of the other things that I have been thinking of was, okay, well, it might be hard and it might be challenging for the San Francisco 49ers to go out and get that level or caliber of edge player. Like, it just might not be in the cards, right? It might not be the right time for the team that has that player. Like, there's no guarantee that the Raiders want to trade him, trade Max Crosby. Who knows what the Bengals are doing and how they run and are operated. So there's no guarantee that they want to trade Trey Hendrickson. So it has me thinking. I think back to, I think it was 2022 when the San Francisco 49ers traded a 5th-round draft pick for Charles Omenihu. Now, Charles Omenihu was a defensive end. He wasn't like a pure speed end. He was kind of this dog role that I've talked about, a base down edge who can kick inside and rush over the guard. But that trade had a huge impact on that season. He played phenomenally well, and he ended up getting paid that offseason by the Chiefs. So I'm thinking something along the lines of, like, how could the 49ers potentially go out and get someone similar? And so Myles Murphy came to my mind. And he's a former first-round draft pick, because I'm kind of like looking for these guys who have upside, maybe haven't panned out. And this guy who's 6'5", 275 pounds, runs a 4.53 40. Keep in mind, George Kittle ran a 4.52. So this guy has high-end traits and measurables. He's only 23 years old, and he played at Clemson, again, a first-round draft pick, and just really hasn't latched on with the Bengals for whatever reason, whether that's because they have Trey Hendrickson or whatever. But the Bengals go out, they draft Shamar Stewart. It just seems like the writing is on the wall for Myles Murphy, and he's not getting a ton of reps. Some of the comments from the coaching staff is like, kind of hints at he needs to earn more playing time and things like that. So it just seems like that situation isn't a good one. I was looking through last night, saw a bunch of fans kind of complaining about it. I'd put out a tweet last night. I was just sitting there, laying in bed, thinking about it. And, I'm like, I could see a scenario where the San Francisco 49ers, they're calling for Trey Hendrickson, but I'd be willing to leave with Myles Murphy. And, I'm not the only one who thought that was a good idea. So did David Lombardi.
So you might call him for Trey Hendrickson, but end up with somebody like Myles Murphy.
So the way that I look at it is, yes, as a fan base, we all want the top echelon. We all want that guy who is going to be a huge game changer. But if we're trying to put our GM cap on, and we have to understand that we might not be able to go out and get the top tier players at the position, to be able to plug in and play. However, we might be able to try to work that like Charles Omenihu magic. Try to work a trade where you can get someone with upside that maybe a change of scenery is all they need, right? Look at Kendrick Bourne. Look at how Kendrick Bourne has flourished with the San Francisco 49ers and the change of scenery. Mac Jones, look at how he's flourished with the change of scenery. Why not? What if Myles Murphy, all he needs is a change of scenery? I mean, this guy has speed off the edge. Like, he has good size. His athletic profile fits the wide nine scheme, and you might be able to get him at a discount. You might be able to get a first round talent at a maybe fourth or fifth round price. So, and I mean, even in what Myles Murphy did in this last game that he played this last week, he put up some high-end pass rush productivity scores and metrics. So he's doing it. He's not getting a lot of reps, but within the reps that he is getting, he's making the most of it. He has 1.5 sacks on the year. He's got 10 tackles, I believe it is. So I'm very curious to see if this could be a situation where the San Francisco 49ers call up the Bengals. Hey, is Trey Hendrickson available? No. Or, yeah, of course, any player's available, but at the right price. And maybe the price tag for Trey Hendrickson is too much. And they decide, you know what, we're going to keep Trey, but, Shamar Stewart is here. So Myles Murphy is an expendable player for us. We're not going to re-sign him. We're not going to pick up his 5th-year option. Let's get something for him. He clearly hasn't been, what we drafted him for. So let's make a deal. I think that maybe those kinds of moves might be more realistic. And I'm sure there are also other players that profile similarly to Myles Murphy, guys who haven't panned out in their current situations, and you could get for relatively cost-effective compensation. And who knows, maybe the change of scenery is the rejuvenation to the system that they've needed this whole time, and having, a supporting cast of Fred Warner, D. Winters, getting Malik Mustafa back, having Deommodore Lenoir, Renardo Green, guys like that available, Bryce Huff on the other side. We're seeing Bryce Huff have a bit of a resurgence as well in this scheme and on this team. Maybe it could be something similar. So that's where I'm really, really interested in this situation. And why I do think Myles Murphy could be a solid option for multiple reasons. Crazy athletic profile, fits the speed profile that I would like to have on, but also fits a 3-down type of physical archetype role and mold. And he's only 23 years old. 23. He's not even close to scratching his prime yet. There are rookies that come into the league at 23, 24. So I think maybe a change of scenery could be something that is very, very beneficial to a guy like Myles Murphy, and could be something that works for the San Francisco 49ers. But again, I'm really curious to know how you guys feel, because again, I know we want the name brand. We want the Gucci to the Louis, all that. We want the high end. But, there's some really quality, Nikes, right? Like, I don't know. I don't know if that was a good analogy. But I'm curious to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments below. And as always, make sure to like and subscribe for more updates.